Hi, I'm Jarrett Krosoczka, and I'm the author and illustrator of a lot of books for young readers, several picture books and graphic novels. And for years now, I have been painting faces on pumpkins with my kids around Halloween time, and then posting photos of those pumpkins to social media. Well, today, I want to share with you how we make those pumpkins. So this is going to be a bit of a tutorial for Halloween decorating, but it's also going to be a bit of an art lesson, as well as a cartooning lesson, as I show you how I show expressions through a character's facial features.
Okay, let's get ourselves situated. I use acrylic paints, a paper palette, brushes, and a hairdryer to speed the drying process along. Now, the first thing they teach you in art school is not to use black from a tube. So using ultramarine blue paint and Burt Sienna, I create my own black paints. I lay out the other colors I'm going to use. Here, I'm going to use cadmium orange. When I mix burnt sienna and the cadmium orange, I'll get a nice darker complexion for the pumpkin. I'll also lay out other warm colors like cadmium red medium, cadmium yellow medium, Naples Yellow, titanium white. Now I'm going to want to use white sparingly. White will make everything look chalky. When I mix the cadmium red medium with the cadmium orange medium, I'm going to get a nice in-between complexion for the pumpkin's skin. When I mix the cadmium orange with the cadmium yellow, I'll get a lighter color. Now, yellow acrylics tend to be very thin, so I need to layer these. It will also help if I put in some of this Naples Yellow, which is very thick. And Naples Yellow will act as a good substitute for white when I want to create highlights. Because again, whenever you add white to something, it's going to make it look chalky and plastic. Now, if I want to make a character look scared, I make sure that their pupils are not touching the border of their eyes. When you can see white all around the character's eyes, it makes the character look terrified. Now, when I'm creating and painting my characters, you want to give the impression that there is some blood underneath that skin, like blood flowing in the character, giving it life, which is why I add red to the cheeks of these pumpkins. I'm using non-toxic acrylic paints. You'll see sometimes I'm putting my fingers right on the paint and rubbing it around. If you're using whatever paint you're using, make sure it is non-toxic. I also consider the stem. So for this stem, see how it looks like it's like breezed back? So I imagine that this character was so scared that their hair went up and back. And in this case, the stem did. So this character is going to look terrified at something it's seeing off in the distance. I'm also going to create the illusion of space by adding some dark colors underneath the character's eyes to give it the impression that those eyes are sitting in a socket. And the same thing with the character's quote-unquote lips. Light and shadow to make it look as though the character has been carved and is opening its mouth. Now, if I want a character to look really angry, I have those brows come down and get cross. And when you're really angry, you tend to tilt your head down. So your brows are coming down and crossed, you're tilting your head down, which means that the brows are going to cover the top part of the pupils. And when you do this, it really helps the character look rageful. Now, also, it's important that I have the character frown to really show that anger. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment, because the eyes and the mouth will work together to truly create the emotion. Now, this character has a big old smile, so you think it's going to be a happy pumpkin. And it's smiling big with teeth. But now, if I draw the eyes to be cross, it just looks maniacally evil. I also used some of that orange and burnt sienna together to create a shadow underneath the character's eyes. The younger the character is, the bigger their eyes and pupils will be. And so giving this character just a little tiny smile, but then really big pupils, is going to give the appearance of it being very cutesy. If you want your show your character to be really just enthusiastic and be like really it's exuberant with joy, you have the eyes closed, but you have them arching up. So this character is very energetic. If I were to do the same thing where the character's eyes are closed, but I have the character's eyes arched downward, it's going to give the appearance that the character is really content. Now I wanted this character to look a little conceited. So the character has a little smirk and an expression kind of looking off to the side. I also really like the shape of this pumpkin. It's also a lot of fun to, get a little creative with items outside of your paints. And perhaps you have an old wig or pieces of Halloween costumes sitting around the house that you can use to finish off your pumpkin. It's also fun just to look around and see what other gourds you might find and what kind of inspiration you might find in the pumpkin patch or in the supermarket. So I saw these two little gourds, and to me, they looked like Muppet eyes. So I grabbed a paperclip, fashioned it around, and just fixed it there. Super simple, but very effective. Again, looking for a really fun shape. This pumpkin, while deformed, it looked like a very pointy nose. So I used that little point and the pumpkin as the nose. Didn't put any paint on the nose, just worked around it. And also something a little unsettling to have the eyes look more like human eyes than just the cartoony rounded eyes I've been using in the other pumpkins. And there's something about these two gourds that to me they had so much movement and emotion right off the bat. I also really love finding some white pumpkins and turning them into skulls. I really limit the palette for this. I just use a black paint, the kind that I created using ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And I used the slightest bit of Naples yellow mixed in with that black. And of course, our house is also filled with so many pumpkins that our kids created. Here are a few of them.